So, welcome everyone. Yes, I know I'm always excited when I get to talk to people like this, but today let me even say it a different way. It's my extreme honor to share with you one of my dearest friends, um, and Master T-Tapp trainer for those of you that happen to know Gergana Radovich from T-Tapp. You know, one of the things that I find has been so incredible for me with the internet, people say, oh, you don't really make friends. Oh, yes, you do. Gergana and I met on the internet. We were internet friends and we have become very close friends. And then she's been to the United States. She's in Bulgaria, Sofia, Bulgaria. And we've met many times now live and just gotten a great friendship. So anyway, Gergana, welcome to this live stream. And the reason that I wanted to share Gergana with you today, for so many reasons, but for one, is because Gergana is actually a holistic sleep coach. And she has an amazing resume. You guys wouldn't believe she's an engineer. She's like just one of my brilliant friends, and yet so accessible and just a delight. So I wanted to bring Gergana on today because she has written an incredible book that's been published, at least in Bulgaria and other countries too. I'm assuming. So
Only Bulgaria now.
For now, but
For now.
Okay, because we are all pushing to get it translated into English. And I know that's in progress. So, guys, that'll be so exciting. And the name of her book in Bulgaria is, you're going to love this. I'll just let her say.
The Sleep Factory.
Love it. So, Gergana, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here. So, let's just dig right into the sleep. So, what made you decide that you were going to put some focus and attention on sleep?
You know, there are topics that you just cannot avoid talking about. And for me, sleep was this kind of a topic. I started my healing journey, my teaching experience many years ago. And I was talking about sleep in my day job. I was teaching pilots and aviation maintenance personnel how to manage stress better. And guess what? Sleep is one part of the problem. So I was teaching pilots about the topics of sleep, stress, fatigue. And then when the years went by, with the years going by, and wonderful other stuff I was learning, such as T-Tapp, emotional freedom techniques, some other stuff, the sleep kind of became the central figure for me, because I somehow realized that if you sleep well, you feel better. If you feel better, you perform better. If you perform better, you're happier. And if you're happier, life is easier. So
we just take it all the way upstream to get some good sleep. There you
absolutely. Go. If we are to summarize, of course, we know each other for, I don't know, probably 12 or 13 years now. But if we are to summarize one simple solution to all the problems we have, it would probably be sleep. Of course, take that with a grain of salt, but still, you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. It so is. And so many of us struggle with different types of metabolic dysfunction. And the reason that that's so important to work on to heal is because it affects everything, just exactly what you said. You went all the way down the line. And so if we go, this is my little saying, I love this saying, what is the root of the root of the root? right, of the problem. And if you can get down into sleep, if you can at least sleep, that's a large part of the root of the problem. And Gergana is going to share with us a few other little roots of the root that affect the sleep. So that's fascinating. So from there, you were teaching pilots and in aviation engineers about sleep. And how did they take it? Did they take the information and use it? Were they getting some good results?
Surprisingly, well, pilots are a tough group to work with. Pilots with experience are even tougher.
Why does that not surprise me?
I know. But I've been talking a lot about stress, and this kind of education, so to speak, was, imagine classroom education, stress is this, and this, and when you are stressed, you should do this, and this. They go out after the 8 hours they have spent with me, and they don't remember anything, and worse, they don't have these practical skills to apply in daily basis on daily basis. But when we touch the topic of sleep, something interesting usually used to happen, and it was they were interested in the information I was sharing. And because I saw most of these pilots every year for a couple of years, because the system is like that, and Bulgaria is not a big country compared to the US. But I could see them again and again and again, and they used to share with me after our first, second, third meeting that, this thing about sleep that you shared, I tried it and it worked. So back to your original question, when they applied something about sleep, usually they found it working. Of course, it was the matter of try and see, and not try and not see.
Right. That's just fascinating. And you know what? I can kind of get that based on my experience with teaching stress reduction and then sleep. Because sleep, if you can't sleep, man, you know it. You're going to do what you need to do to fix it. With stress, it's so insidious. It's like we're just all under stress. We don't even recognize unless it's really bad that we're stressed. Right. So then there's no big motivation to do right anything about it. With sleep, if you're not sleeping, there's a motivation. So that
Absolutely.
is so awesome. So let's get right into it. So, in the book, I'm sure I call it kind of low hanging fruit, the things that if you have sleep issues, you probably have heard before, but let's repeat them anyway. So, like, what would be the main topics, the first things you would have to, you would recommend somebody address?
First thing, even before that, would be pay good attention of how you feel, and we need to recognize if we have a problem or not. For many people, especially in our daily stressed life, we don't really pay attention to our sleep because we have so many other things to do. And we're addicted, at least some of us, to adrenaline and addicted to stress. And stress equals performance, which is not exactly true. So my first thing would be take a good look of how you feel physically, emotionally, even psychologically during the day. If you are tired, if you are not really feeling well, and most of us, we know when we are at our best and when we are not, and all the levels between that. So I would start, usually when clients come to me, I start with a few questions. Are you sleeping less than 7 hours? Less than 6 hours? Yes or no? Are you waking up tired? Yes or no? Um, Are you waking multiple times, once or multiple times during the night? Yes or no? Can you put a start date of how this experience? Do you remember when it started, or do you know when it started? And if you say yes to even one question, it usually means that you have some issues with the sleep. I mean, I wouldn't call it a problem yet. We don't know, but there might be some issues because most of the people in active working people in Bulgaria, they sleep less than they should sleep. And the statistics for the US, for Europe, for leading countries is that at least 30 to 40, even more percent of active working people sleep less than 7 and then 6 hours.
Wow.
And we need between, I don't know, 7.5, actually I know, but 7.5 and 9 hours of sleep, and we differ really much into this area. So we can't say this is for one, this is it's the same for all of us. So this is my number one. Take a good look, make an assessment of your sleep, and then we go to the low hanging fruits, as you put it. For me, probably the most important thing is not even the coffee. We'll get to the coffee, but yes, um, we both love coffee.
We do.
It's not. But for me, the most important thing is the light. Because here's what I've noticed people don't really pay attention to, and it's important. It's we are used, especially if we live in big cities, in urban areas where light is everywhere, uh, 24 hours per day. And when we go to bed, we kind of expect to be in very bright artificial white until, say, 10:30, and then to switch off the light and go to bed and fall asleep. So most of the people expect to switch off the lamp and fall asleep, and it's not happening because the light and melatonin, one of the primary body hormones, you know that very well, of course, they don't go well together because melatonin is produced during the night when there is absence of light. So my really strong point here is that if you like to sleep well, you better dim your lights in the evening. And when you go to your bedroom with the intention of sleeping, make sure it's really dark environment, or you use your sleep mask again to create this dark environment. So this is my first non-negotiable thing that everybody should apply. And again, those who applied it at my practice, they said, "Oh, I didn't know that, but it worked to at least some extent."
Yeah, excellent. Okay, two good ones.
So my next thing would be, of course, avoid too much caffeine during the day, especially if you're, I don't know, above 30 years old. When we are young, under 30, 25, I believe that if we are healthy, we can do with almost everything. We can. The body has these amazing abilities. But with age, we tend to kind of lose this vital force a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to be careful with what we drink, what we eat, how we eat, and how much we eat. But again, coffee for me, limit your coffee to 2 3 coffees. Again, it depends on what kind of coffee you drink, but limit your coffee, your black tea, even the green one.
Mm-hmm.
uh, be really mindful about the caffeinated drinks that you take in the
Mm-hmm.
afternoon. I love coffee, but if I drink my coffee after 3,
Yeah.
I wouldn't really be falling asleep.
Right.
So one, actually, I'd like to talk about two things that probably everybody has heard about, and one surprising thing.
Excellent. Go.
Okay. So one of the other important things is the exercise. We can't spend the whole day on the couch, on the chair, in the room, and expect to have great night's sleep,
Right.
especially when we age, more or less. For me, it's not even a you must exercise so you could sleep. For me, is you must give your body what it needs. It needs movement. It needs sleep. It needs food,
Right.
and it will
Non-negotiable.
not.
Non-negotiable. You gotta move. You just
You
have.
got to move. Yes. And one small note here: uh, be again mindful of how you move right before you go to sleep. Many people, they said, "Okay, I'm exercising in the evening because I don't have other time," and that's okay. Some studies even show that you can exercise anytime you like, even before bed, and you can fall asleep easy and sleep well. But others says the opposite. So again, it's a matter of personal
Mhm.
and bodily preference, actually.
Mhm. I agree
So,
completely just from my own experience.
mhm,
Same thing. And I have a lot of clients that, and it is, we realize it's a time thing and finding, if that's the only time. But even right before going to sleep, just get on on the floor even and just do some beautiful slow movements with breathing really
mhm.
helps. Just let the body know and you're relaxing and stretching. So, just a really nice, smooth breathe, deep breath with slow movements just to move the body in and out and get rid of the muscle tension from the day can make such a difference. Wouldn't you agree with that? Yeah.
Absolutely. And you just gave me an idea, but it's important to know this as well. When you do this every night, night after night, you teach your mind, your body, that it's time to sleep. It's
Right.
part of your evening routine.
Right.
So, again, move more, live better.
Love it. I love that. Yeah, girl.
That's
The joys
that's
of
what
movement. Love it, love it,
that's what
love it.
connected us in the beginning, and I'm so happy. So many years later, we're
We're still
still
moving
here.
together, girl. I love it.
Absolutely,
I love it. So
absolutely.
now you have one more that will be a surprise. Go.
One small thing,
Small thing.
we need to talk about food. I mean, you can't really, well, we can eat whatever we like,
Of course, it's a
but
choice.
it's a choice, of course. But we usually, if we do that, we don't like the results. And when we don't like the results, we say, "Oh, I'm doing my best, it's not working." And if you take a look at your plate, we talked about this a little while ago, but when you look what you put in your plate, you might start getting ideas about why your sleep is not so well. Again, there are different studies, and I'd like to mention this at least for people who are interested and would like to search more. There are studies who show that very low carb diets for some, not for all, but for some, lead to restless sleep and increase insomnia. For others, there is not such a problem. For me personally, if I go really low carb, I can't really sleep well, and I'm a good sleeper already, so I don't even have the problem with insomnia.
Mhm.
And because I found this to be a rising topic of interest, I'm sharing it because some people, they believe that they do their best for their figure, well-being, etc., limiting their carbs on their own without educated guidance, so to speak, and they kind of fall into the other category of lacking good sleep.
Interesting.
Yeah, and final thing about food. Oh, not final. It's important. If we are hungry, I mean, if we are hungry for longer periods of time, of course, it's not surprise for you. Blood sugar level drop, and this increases anxiety,
Mhm.
which is really connected with the lack of the
Stress.
sleep problems, and
Right.
sleep problems are back connected to anxiety.
Mhm.
So we have to be really careful about, well, really careful. We have to be careful about what we are eating, how we are eating, when we are eating it. Because usually huge meal right before bed wouldn't really give you the best sleep of your life. Wouldn't
Right.
you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And there's studies that say, it should be at least 3 hours before you go to sleep. You should stop
Yes.
eating. And some
Yes.
also, that's very fascinating about the low carb. One of the people that I follow, is relatively low carb, a little higher protein,
Mhm.
do lots
Mhm.
of veg, but then recommends having some sweet potato or a little starch at dinner just to help with sleep, specifically for females. I don't know if it's the truth for males as well, but yeah. So to add just a little bit of a healthy starchy carb at the dinner meal. So that's
That's
fascinating
really,
that your research was showing that same thing, at least for a lot of people.
yes. And I just remembered something years and years ago when you were my mentor. You shared with me, well, we are not that old, but it's been some years. But you shared with me, we were discussing what to eat before bed and related to exercise regime and so on. But I remember you told me, I don't remember the exact words, but it was, if you go really hungry before going to bed, take some small snack of, say, some pieces of banana, some fruit, not the whole piece, but kind of a few bites, and some nuts.
And some nuts, right?
And years late, I trusted you, of course, and I recommended this to others.
And it works. And it
Really
works for
found
you.
it interesting and useful,
Oh,
and
that's
it
great.
worked. And so years later, when I went around writing my book, I was interested in all these science discoveries and papers, and I found the topic interesting, and I found some proof of what you had said several years
Mhm.
ago. And for me, this personally was a big deal.
Mhm. That's
Just,
great.
yes.
And I think one of the things too that you keep saying, and so I just want to point it out as well,
Mhm.
is, we are all so individual, right?
Absolutely.
So, you know, try it. I mean, I think that's your one of your big takeaways is what might there are things that work for everybody. The light thing is going to work for everybody. You need to dim the lights, you need to put on this. That's going to work for everybody. That's right.
Yes.
Nutrition is can always be you have to really individualize, and that requires paying attention. And we're not used to being mindful about how we feel. We're all in our heads out here. We're not sinking down into our bodies to notice. And so I think just being mindful is just a huge thing if you're trying to hack your sleep and just how you feel, your health as it relates totally anyway. So
Absolutely.
great one. Great one.
And here, it's from my experience, it's important to remind people that if you try any of these tips or all of them, and you don't really find them working, it's probably not that they are not working. It's probably they're not enough.
Mm,
So it's a really important thing to mention. We're
beautifully
different
said. I
in
love that.
in different
Yes.
situations. Yeah. So just this is the basics. These are not negotiables. Think. Find your balance. Find your thing. Ask a specialist, nutritionist, doctor, some other educated. Well, how do we say this?
A practitioner. Got it.
Yeah, practitioner. Yeah, well,
Right.
but do that. And here comes the biggest thing that I promised you.
Tell me, tell me.
And it's related to beliefs we have about sleep. And I found in my practice that, and again, it kind of really showed up because of the research I was doing about the book. But I found out that how we think, what we believe about sleep and lack of it, or its disturbances, plays really a great role in how we sleep. And imagine how much people are surprised when they hear that, right?
Right. So we
And
know, I mean, in our group, we have, the 5 prongs of metabolic dysfunction. And one of the big ones, of course, is sleep and stress. Those are two. And then mindset, beliefs. What do we believe about it? So it's so exciting that you found the same thing and that there's even beliefs that we have that can hinder our sleep. How fascinating.
absolutely. And if you allow me, I would like to share just a couple of them. There are many
Yes.
beliefs, but there are several certain main ones. And probably the most common one is everybody needs 8 hours of sleep. And most of people believe that, and it's not really untrue. It's simply not true for everybody.
Mm,
And I'm talking about people between, I say, okay, 25 and 65 years old. This is the population that we're talking about, because prior to that and after that, there are little differences or huge differences if we were talking about the babies.
mm.
But for this middle population, in the middle, we need between 7 and 9 hours of sleep. There are probably 3-5% among us that need less than 4 or even 3 hours of sleep.
Wow.
They genuinely need that much of sleep, not more, because they have some gene modifications or something else, but they're kind of physically different, if you
Mhm,
let me use this
mhm.
term.
It's their own genetics for whatever
Yeah,
reason. That's all they need. That
absolutely,
is all they need.
absolutely.
Right.
But here comes the surprise and the second belief. If there are 3% means that 3 out of 100 would have this need for sleep. Usually, some other paper says it's even between 1 and 3%, which is even less, 1 to 3 people out of 100. But from my experience and from what I see is that I don't know, probably half the people come and say, I sleep 6 hours, it's enough. I sleep 7 hours, it's enough. I sleep 5 hours because I have to work, it's enough. So here is the belief: I can get used to sleep less than I need, and I will perform
Just as well.
just as well, which is not true. I would say not necessarily true, but it's not true. Because when we slept well, when we feel well, our performance might be here, just for sake of
Mhm.
measurement. When we don't sleep well, 1 night, 2 nights, 3 nights, and even more, we decrease our performance. Actually, 2 nights are enough. With one, say, 1 or 2 hours less of sleep, they are enough to really decrease our performance and increase our what sugar levels. But it's another thing. So when we don't sleep well, our performance is here, and here is our normal, now normal. And we had kind of forgotten what is the true normal. So
Right.
when we got this sleep, we go back here and say, oh, it was an amazing sleep. But I like to use this kind of visual because this is the easiest way to explain what happens in your in your mind, in your body, in your emotions when you don't really have the sleep you need on daily basis.
I think it
And
even shows, do you have time changes? Does your time change in
yes,
the
we have.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we do here too, and it's always when we spring forward. That's how I always know, are we going to get right? It's like people just have so much issue getting used to just a
Yes.
1 hour difference that, you would think, oh, it's just one night. But
Mm-hmm.
it can affect people for 2 weeks where you're just off, even when you go back, which we all love. Oh, yay. I mean, everybody's so excited,
Yeah.
not that it's gonna be darker earlier, but that, wow, I get an extra hour's sleep. But whatever it shifts, there's definitely all kinds of issues that happen with that. So it's
Absolutely.
fascinating.
Absolutely. And for me, that's why we need to delve more into sleep
Yes.
in order to figure out really what doesn't work for us. And another belief that I usually meet is that, okay, I shared about the 8 hours. I shared about I can get used on less sleep. But there are some other beliefs, such as if I don't sleep well, I'm going to get sick,
Mm,
or I won't be good at my work during the day, or my work will suffer. And again, it might be true, but if we kind of say this to ourselves again and again and again, it becomes something else.
right.
It's if I don't sleep, I start worrying, and I have many clients. They come to me because they are worrying that they will feel sick. They will become sick because they don't sleep. Okay, it might happen. It might not, but on my opinion, it will happen if you believe it's going to happen.
Right, right. It's the belief. That's the thing, that they're taking one thing and equating it to something else and
Yes.
getting it so um it just keeps going. I mean, that's that neuro pathway that just keeps getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And then when you don't sleep, even if you have a night off, that it's off a little, that subconscious is going to go, time to get sick. So we
Absolutely.
need to start to cancel some of these programs that we've
Absolutely.
created around that to allow the sleep to be the sleep.
Mm-hmm. And we can talk about beliefs and what's more, but I would like to share just two others that I think are important if we have time for that.
Sure, go, go.
Yeah, the first of them is I can't fall asleep until I take something. Pill, mushroom, wine, something else, food. It doesn't really matter what I'm taking,
Right.
but I need to have this thing. Mostly it's a pure medicine. Pure medicine.
Placebo.
No. It's the medicine that are prescribed for
Oh,
insomnia. What's the term for this?
just a medication. Sleep.
Medication. Yeah.
Sleep. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Sleep medication. And studies again show that they work up to 3 weeks, and afterwards they stop working actually, or but people are taking them because they believe this thing works.
Works, right. If it worked
Yeah.
for a couple days, then it's going to work, continue to work.
Yes, and on the other side, I'm not going into medication, but I'm just kind of raising attention here that this kind of medication, it's a short-term solution prescribed by a medical professional. And it's not something that we should take on daily basis, usually. And we should be mindful of that. And on other thing that I just wanted to share was really important. Many people who have problems with sleep or don't sleep the way they like to believe that, and especially if it has been for years, they believe that this condition isn't going to change no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a dangerous belief,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Yep. So, real quick, Gergana, that's just fascinating. How would you change somebody's belief? Something like that. It's never going to change. I'm never going to sleep. How would you change that or recommend somebody change?
There are different pathways. Again, I'll share my favorite one, the one that works for me, for my clients. It's simple EFT tapping.
Mm-hmm.
I guess our friends here are familiar with tapping. If not, it's
Mm-hmm.
a very simple tool. We're going to have a short
We'll
tapping
do a
session.
short session.
Yes, but it's a really simple tool that we use tapping on points of our upper body and that helps us release the energy we hold around this belief and eventually to transform the belief.
Nice.
There are other techniques, of course, but for me, tapping is my preferable tool. It's super easy.
Right.
Everybody could use it at home. Um, Changing the belief might be easy, but every belief we have is connected to previous experiences that we had had.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't really change the belief, at least in my area of work, if we don't go back to these experiences, or
Mm-hmm.
at least to major ones of them.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, when a client comes and says, "I have these problems with sleep," they start explaining why they're here, what they experience, etc., etc. And I ask them, when has this thing started for you?
Mm-hmm.
And they usually say, "Well, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, 20 years ago." What happened? I ask them, what happened? What had happened there? And they say, "Well, I lost someone, I changed my job, something happened," like normal life situation,
Right.
or of course, traumatic event. It might be
Right.
the cause as well.
Right.
And again, we can't really change the belief appeared because this is the only way the person could survive and continue. So we must remember, you are absolutely, you know that, but I just cannot not share it,
Right.
that we should know that beliefs have preventive function. So that's why it's not really easy sometimes to take them out and start sleeping well or eating better or whatever we want to change, because those beliefs are intertwined in our past experience.
Mm-hmm.
So with EFT, with tapping, we pay attention to how we feel, our emotions, our past experience, and our beliefs.
Mm. Beautiful. Beautiful. So let's just do, and then we'll wind up, but just do just like a short session, an EFT session around whatever topic you want, whatever belief you feel is really
I will,
is common.
okay, okay. I will start with, if I don't sleep well, I'm just going to show a few things and then everybody can pick up from there. But say, let's start with the belief, no, I can't fall asleep no matter I do.
Right. Perfect. That's a great.
Or I'm
Perfect.
too anxious to go to bed. Probably
Perfect.
this would be easier. I'm too anxious to go to bed. So we start. I'm going to show the simplest EFT tapping. We're going to start from the side of the hand. It doesn't matter which hand, just tapping on the side of the hand. And simply say words as like, even though
Even though.
I'm really anxious and I would probably not fall asleep tonight again, I choose to accept how I feel here and now. We're just stating the problem and accepting ourselves. So let's repeat that. Even though I'm too anxious to fall asleep again, here and now, I choose to accept myself and my feelings. And one more time. Even though I'm too anxious and probably I won't be able to fall asleep again, here and now, I accept how I feel and my emotions. Then we tap on the top of the head. Just tap with a few fingers. I feel so anxious. Then we tap in the base of the eyebrow and nose. Yes. I'm so anxious. I can't fall asleep. Then we tap on the side of the head, the side of the eye. Sorry. I'm too stressed. I can't fall asleep. Under the eye, I'm just too anxious to fall asleep. Under the nose, this stress is too much. On the chin, I had a busy day. I'm so stressed. I'm so anxious. Just note however you are feeling and state that. That's what we need. Then I like to use the whole hand just below the collarbone and just tap. And again, tune into this anxiety, stress, and tap and say something like, I'm too stressed, I'm too anxious, whatever it might be for you. And breathe. It's a good reminder. I usually like to spend more time on this point. Actually, there are 2 points here. Because it makes me feel good and it makes my clients feel good. So just tap and allow yourself to be in the presence of this negative emotion, of this negative feeling. And then we go under the arm. We just tap. I feel so anxious. I feel so stressed. And again, final tapping on the head. Just tap and see how you feel. Try to connect with your inner self and the anxiety, probably, or the stress or the belief, and see how it feels for you. Notice how it feels for you, actually. And then we can stop. Take a deep breath and tell me, how do you feel now?
Really nice. Really nice. That was beautiful, Gergana. Thank you.
You feel calmer, right?
Absolutely.
Not that you were stressed in the beginning, but still you felt much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I would just like to give something here for people if they like to continue. You saw the point. Just if the stress levels are not down as down as you like them to be, just continue tapping and continue sharing how you feel. The symptoms, tightness, heaviness, whatever you experience, just mention this. And I guarantee you that if you do this prior to bed, probably not in your bed, but a little bit before going to bed, you're going to feel much more relaxed.
Yeah.
And your sleep is going to be better, especially if you are consistent.
Right. Beautiful. And I'm suppressing, but then I'm like, no, let's me not suppress a yawn. So we know when we move energy and unblock some of the kinks, some of the things that can happen, right, is that you can start to yawn. It's just a way of showing. So I was yawning but suppressing. So you might find different things start to happen as you start to relax, and using those words specific to unblock the belief around that. But I find even just tapping or just, oh, I'm just relaxing. This is how you don't almost need the words, do you? Just for that ability to release the tension in the body. So it actually does
True.
3 things, right? It releases stress, reduces stress, helps with sleep, and it does mindset. I mean, it's all 3
Absolutely. Yes.
prongs. Yeah,
Yes.
which is beautiful.
Yeah.
Gergana, thank you so much. This was amazing. And maybe we can have you back to do a few more EFT sessions. That would be amazing. And so you guys
That would
just
be wonderful.
that would be. You can also reach Gergana at on Facebook. I don't know, Gergana, if you want to give me an email or whatever, or a website. I'll make sure to put that in here when
My
we post
website
that.
is not in English, so Facebook is great.
Never mind.
Through your group, it's great. Even
Good.
please send messages in the group. I mean,
Beautiful.
yeah.
Beautiful. We're going to post this in the group and we'll make sure Gergana is in there. So if any of you, have specific sleep issues that you'd like to get some coaching on, if you would love some coaching on EFT and using it, because it is a powerful modality, and Gergana is a master teacher and practitioner. So we want to let you know that, so we have a resource that you can use for that. So, my love, thank you so much. Just in time, the phone. Time to go.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
No problem at all. Listen, thank you once again. Love you, love you. Thanks, guys, for watching. And we'll be back for more later. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.